You said that guides usually send subtle messages in order to remain unobtrusive. Are they considered a novice or unskilled guide if their message is very obvious?
Not necessarily, no. It depends upon the circumstances and the reason for why the message is being delivered the way it is being delivered. It has nothing to do with whether the spirit is a novice at it or not.
And are we able to affect other people's vibration? For example, if a loved one is struggling with negative self-worth, can we manifest for them?
No. You can send off a vibration that can encourage them and invite them to more readily match the frequency that you're giving off, at which point they will create for themselves the same vibration in their reality. That is what you can do for them, is give them the option by immersing them in the vibration you believe would be of help to them. It's still always up to them to more closely match that frequency in order to experience any kind of an effect. You cannot manifest for them. You can only encourage them to manifest for themselves by matching the frequency that you are gifting to them.
And you have said that physical reality is like a mirror. What's the difference between looking into a mirror in our homes, like, our bathroom mirror, and seeing our face in it, than looking into the mirror of physical reality, like looking into our yard?
Again, the idea is that the reflection from physical reality is not a one-to-one reflection. The idea is that it gives you insight into the different meanings that the symbol being reflected to you in physical reality may hold for you. It may give you opportunities to interact with other beings through the manifestations you are creating to represent them, the so-called avatars you are creating to represent them, as being a reflection of why they look the way they do to you, because it is your creation, even though they exist on their own. So the idea of the physical mirror is that you get to engage with yourself more directly on a one-to-one basis. But the idea of physical reality is that you get to be reflected by all the symbols and all the meanings that you are putting out into reality and are being reflected back to you in the way that serves you as reflections that put you in touch with why you are giving off what you are giving off and attracting what you are attracting as a reflection, to put you in touch with the themes that you're exploring and the ability to grow and change by interacting with those different angles, those different perspectives, those different representations of those themes.
Very interesting. This person is talking about parallel realities and wanting to know if they coexist in the same place at the same time.
Of course, that's what makes them parallel realities. Everything exists here and now. Everything. There is nothing that doesn't exist here and now. Look at it this way. Even the concepts of space and time are evidence of parallel realities. Because if you understand that everything is one thing, space being reduced to its simplest form is a dimensionless point. Time being reduced to its simplest form is a timeless moment. Being that everything exists in a timeless moment and a dimensionless point, then everything you consider to be a different thing, even a different moment, even a different location, has to be a different perspective of the same here-now space-time. And therefore you create this illusion of dimensional space, this illusion of time spreading out and change. So even the existence of your experience of space and time are evidence of the existence of parallel realities, which all coincide exactly in the same timeless moment and dimensionless point.
Thank you. You mentioned we will always get what we need, but not what we want. But you also said we can shift to the reality we prefer. Is there any difference between what we prefer and what we want?
It can be. Preference is the idea of a state, a general state of being, a frequency that is more in alignment with who you truly are, your core vibration. Wants can be wildly different. They can be the product of negative ego. They can be the product of fear. So the idea is that preference is more a reference to the idea of the general state of being in which you would receive automatically and synchronistically what it is that you truly need, which would allow you to experience a life full of joy. Whereas a want, though sometimes can coincide with the idea of a need or a preference, doesn't always do so because of the compartmentalization of your psyche structure, your ego structure, that can allow you to have a want that isn't necessarily what you need and can be wildly out of alignment with what you really actually vibrationally prefer to experience in life.
And since we are the creator, is it true that the story of the writer exists in some other reality?
This is very funny to us, this question, because to us there is no difference between the creator and the writer. The creator is the writer. The writer is the creator. A difference is being made here where there really is no difference.
Okay. Let's see. This one is, this person is asking, they sometimes question whether the knowing sense of creating distance from a person is based on a belief rooted in fear. This is due to a belief that they should live in harmony with everyone. Understanding there are no shoulds, how can I resolve my decision to distance myself physically from someone when synchronicity seems to bring us back together again? Is this just a reflection giving me the opportunity to be sure that the decision I am making is the right one for me?
It could be. You have to be honest within your own self-investigation to know if that's exactly what's happening. But in terms of the idea of harmony, remember that love, unconditional love, is harmony. And sometimes demonstrating, as we have often said, the consequence of someone's choice to them by distancing yourself physically from them in a relationship can actually be the most loving thing to do, because you're showing them the consequence of the choices that they're making, relevant to the idea of the choices that you're making. So yes, you have to pay attention to whether you're synchronistically being brought back into the relationship for a variety of reasons that you're not paying attention to within yourself that need looking at, or whether you are there to assist the other person to make the changes they need to make, or whether you are refusing to let go of the idea, and where walking away would actually be not only to your benefit but to their benefit by demonstrating to them the consequences of the choices they are making, thus giving them the loving opportunity to change, not that they have to, but at least giving them the option. So in your own honest self-investigation, you have to decide which of these things may be happening at any given moment, and it actually could be a number of different things, or a combination of these different things at different times. So you have to be very honest about why what's happening is happening, and what you may be getting out of it, and what you may be being of service in giving to them by being either in proximity or not in proximity physically to them. Take it a case at a time, a moment at a time.
This person is saying that they've been doing transformative shifting exercise that you created for the precisely 80 days nonstop. One of the biggest challenges they're finding is that several negative beliefs about their self-value and worthiness is coming up, and they don't know how to fully love themselves under the circumstances. Is there any hint?
Let's go back to the motivational mechanism. This is the purest form of understanding why you choose to do what you choose to do, why you choose to believe what you choose to believe, why you hold on to things the way you hold on to them. Experiencing the idea of feeling unworthy of self-love means that you have attached to the motivational mechanism A belief that says loving yourself unconditionally carries with it somehow effects that you don't prefer, that you believe are more negative than what you're experiencing by continuing to experience a lack of self-love. So you have to really dig deep in your honest self-investigation on your motivational mechanism as why you would hold on to something that says you're not enjoying it, you're not enjoying not loving yourself, and yet you consistently keep doing so. So you have to have a belief that says you're getting something out of continuing that path rather than letting go and going in the alternate way. You have to find out what you believe would be so bad about loving yourself that you refuse to do it. So you have to examine your definitions, what you've been taught in life, what you've been brought up with, and really reach that kernel, that core belief that says, refuse to love yourself because the alternative is worse. You have to find out why you would believe the alternative, that loving yourself would be worse than not loving yourself. Is not loving yourself safer? Less alienating to people? Making you more like everyone else so you don't have to feel too different? You require yourself to examine all these different and other possibilities of why you would hold on to something you don't prefer, because you would not be holding on to it if you didn't think the alternative would be worse. Always go back to the motivational mechanism of why you believe what you believe or why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, because it always has to do with what you believe to be true and why you would believe that doing something different would be worse than what you're doing now, as painful as it may be.
This person's experience was that they experienced a channeling event at their grandmother's funeral, which was a life-changing experience for the person and their family.
Yes.
Before the channeling happened, they sensed a strong power or energy that came to them. Then their body started vibrating, they felt muscle cramps, and then 1 month later, they found your teachings and they experienced the same sensations again, those strong energy flow, the muscle cramps, when they listened to your information. Can you help him or her understand how to interpret this energy?
Well, in a sense, you were given a preview of the kind of energy that connects you more strongly to your higher mind, to spirit, by being open to that kind of energy at a funeral. It's not dissimilar to the kind of energy you experience by connecting to the higher mind and spirit. So you were, in a sense, allowed a preview of the kind of vibrational information that can come to you by being willing to be open to receiving that information. At first, your body may not be used to the frequency, and you may experience the idea of those bodily neurological spasms, but you'll get used to it in time. So just be open to it, and anytime you think back to the idea of being in the state you were in at the funeral, whether you feel exactly the same or not, just know you are open into that state, and go forward with your imagination and apply that energy in whatever way, shape, or form creatively you wish to by acting on your passion in life, and synchronicity will do the rest.
Thank you. Do you know if cannabis or psychedelics was or currently is being used by extraterrestrials as a communication tool? Can it be used as a way to link into the consciousness and awareness of another person? This person says they often feel it could make awareness of other beings more present, but it also felt like it was somewhere in the future, that its components could be used to enhance telepathy and communication through a feeling of energy rather than using speech.
Yes. As we have already said, with regard to the idea of the future hybrids, including Willa Hillichrising, going through the different stages of mastery, a substance, a teacher called divinorum, is often used to make interdimensional linkages. And so different extraterrestrial beings at different times and different civilizations use the teachers of their own planet that grow naturally to aid and assist them in this endeavor.
So, and on that idea, sometimes we have large gatherings that are called rock concerts or music concerts,
Yes.
where people, there can be large numbers of people, like 50,000 people,
Yes.
all getting into a very excited, happy state, dancing, singing, all
Yes.
of that. And for some people, that seems to open up the doorways for some form of ET contact.
Of course, this is ancient shamanism. That's all this is. Remember, drumming circles, dancing circles, vibrations, frequencies, resonance. It's all about that. It doesn't matter how you accomplish it as long as there is unity and harmony in the frequencies with the intent going in a similar direction. We are aware that just recently it has been recorded that at a certain concert from the individual you know as Taylor Swift, individuals were vibrating in harmony to such an extent that it was actually recorded as a 2.2 earthquake.
That's exciting.
There are powers in harmonies. There are powers in resonances. It doesn't matter how you achieve this.
I know there was one rock musician who was very fascinated by these ideas, and he suggested that certain arenas like the Superdome, they look like spaceships, and that
Yes.
there somehow might be a way for an entire group of people to levitate such a thing. Is that realistic, or is that real? Or
Yes, it is potentially true. It depends upon the intent and the focus of the individuals. But there is
so,
enough power to do that.
so if you
And
had
and
50,000 people in
and
that,
and and in any event, in many cases, you will find that portals are being opened with those resonances.
so is it similar to a galactic gathering when these kinds of events occur, where there's so many people in such an ecstatic state?
Smaller scale, but yes, similar in principle.
So they aren't necessarily conversing as much as they are celebrating together. Would that be?
What's the difference?
Well, it seems like there's a frequency difference between just regular communication and celebration.
You can generalize the vibration into what you would perceive as a celebration, but there is always communication. Joy spreads outward. Joy ripples outward to infinity, always. And that is a message.
The channel once mentioned the idea that if you had 50,000 people in that kind of a state and they all focused on levitation, is that the idea that they could literally all levitate together? Or
It's possible, although again, you have to take into account whatever belief systems are in the collective. It might be easier for all of them to imagine that they could each levitate an object rather than themselves. So you may start slow and simple, but you will be able to see demonstrations of this if the intentional focus is harmonized in that way.
it's a very exciting possibility to utilize those kinds of circumstances. I suppose it's like that at a football game too, where people are so excited, but it's a little different because the energy is competitive, I suppose.
In the future, we perceive that gatherings at such stadiums will be primarily for the kind of purposes we are talking about right now.
That's really exciting. Is there a limit to the human population that planet Earth can sustain?
Well, of course, it depends on how you allocate your resources. The way you are allocating your resources now, you have exceeded the limit that is capable of surviving and thriving. However, were you to reallocate resources, eliminate certain political, social, religious limitations, and allow equalization to occur in certain ways, you could find that the Earth could sustain 10 to 12 billion individuals quite comfortably, but major changes would be required.
Okay. Oh, this is one question. There's some proximity in spelling and pronunciation of Anasazi, Native American people, and Anunnaki. Can you tell us if there's any connection between those?
There is some, we will not go into detail, but there is also a connection between Anasazi, Anunnaki, and Essassani.
Yes. Okay. All right. So moving on to some current events. Are ETs able to listen in to the current UFO/UAP hearings that we are having here in the US? Do
Yes,
they feel the same happiness and anticipation that we humans feel who believe that aliens are real?
we understand that bit by bit, this is progressing toward the idea of everyone already understanding that we exist.
And in this meeting that was broadcast, the government admitted that they recovered extraterrestrial bodies from crashed UAPs and nobody even batted an eye. Are we at a comfort level now about the idea of ETs as a nation or planet?
First of all, an individual from a particular program within the government released this information. There are those who simply do not believe the information and therefore are appearing to be comfortable with it, but are still in denial about it. There are those that are more comfortable with it. Yes, the indications of lack of reaction in certain ways can be an indication that you are closer to open contact. All of this is preparation. All of this is about the idea of disclosure, and all of it is preparation for the idea of the high probability of open contact at the end of 26 or the beginning of 27.
Okay, and you've mentioned that Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is a possible location for first open contact.
Yes.
In regards to their research there, can you tell us the origin and or purpose of the 1.6 gigahertz signal that the scientists there frequently encounter?
Yes. This is a communication signal that is also of the correct frequency to open portals. In one particular episode of that particular program, as they broadcast that signal out, they received an echo reflection, which they could not understand where it was coming from. But that is the signal that the portal is open. So when you broadcast it and receive the reflectional echo, you know that you have opened the portal. That's the significance of it and why that particular frequency is used for space communication as well. It is in alignment with the idea of communication into higher dimensional realms. So, intuitively, your scientists have figured this out, whether they understand it completely or not. But in the demonstration they gave where they broadcast that signal and got the echo reflection from seemingly everywhere and nowhere, that was an indication that they had actually opened the portal. Had someone been in a position to actually walk through the portal at that moment, they would have vanished.
Interesting. We're expecting record heat waves this summer. If the Earth gets too hot, will ETs be used to block, will they use UFOs to block the sun to help keep it cool? Or
No. No. Climate change is a natural event that you have accelerated with your technology and pollution. This is your choice. You will have to shift to a different Earth where these things may be mitigated. The idea, of course, is that these things go in cycles, and the warming of your oceans, as you're experiencing it now, can actually, paradoxically, bring about a cooling cycle that can begin a different ice age.
So that whole idea that there's some people on the planet who want steps taken to prevent more global warming, while there's others who are opposed to it. Why do we have these kinds of, I guess, issues on our planet?
Because Earth is where all the stories are being told, positive and negative, and the splitting prism will divide into the different versions of Earth that will allow people to continue to experience the consequences of the choices they are making for their own reasons in playing out these stories positively or negatively. Earth, in that sense, is the dividing line, is the dividing space, is the college of many choices. You'll experience the consequence of the choices and the classes you have agreed to take.
Interesting. And would your ships be able to put out wildfires? Or I know you're saying they won't intervene at all, but are the ships capable of doing something like that?
Yes, by surrounding the fire with a force field that cuts off all the oxygen. The fire would then simply extinguish.
And lastly, one person was thinking that spiritual information is illegal. Is this your understanding? Because they're concerned about this kind of information, that somehow it's not okay.
If such is illegal in certain portions of your planet, then we would simply suggest that if a person desires to interact with spiritual information, that they act on their passion to either change the legality in their locale, or they simply move to a place where the idea of spiritual information is not illegal. Simple solutions are available on your planet. But there's no such thing really as the idea of spiritual information being inaccessible to anyone. You can keep it private if you wish. It doesn't have to be displayed publicly. Nevertheless, if certain cultures on your planet deem it to be illegal to contact spirit, then do something about it, or move to where you don't have to do anything about it.
And that pretty much wraps up our questions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share in the few moments that we have remaining?
We will give you what is coming up next. For the next transmission will be all about parallel realities and you. We will describe exactly how your connections to different parallel realities inform and guide the life and the themes you are exploring in this particular time stream. So be prepared to allow your mind to expand interdimensionally by focusing in on the ideas we will share in parallel realities and you in our upcoming transmission. Aside from that, allow yourselves to continue with this transmission by becoming relaxed and receive our unconditional love in the sharing that you are about to experience.
Thank you, Bashar.
Allow yourselves to begin to relax. Let go of the concerns of the day. Allow yourselves to begin to just breathe deeply, gently, softly. Allow yourselves to begin to float freely in a dreamlike way, feeling yourself floating on currents of energy, relaxed, calm, at peace, in love. Just feeling your way down the stream to reflect to you all the myriad ways in which you are able to express yourself within the reality you have chosen to experience. And as you begin to allow the vibrations in and allow your frequency to shift bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit. Allow yourself to continue to breathe easily and deeply into a state of soft relaxation, ease, effortlessness, gentleness, floating along the currents that are the path of least resistance, knowing you will, in perfect timing, wind up exactly where you need to be, when you need to be there, with whom you need to be, how you need to be, being who you are, in a single moment of time and a single point of space, floating freely in the void along the electromagnetic currents of light that radiate from the source of existence itself, ripples spreading out, traveling infinitely in all directions and all dimensions. And as you allow yourself to continue to breathe, now take your hands and hold them up and cup them open and be willing to receive the gifts and the blessings of the higher mind, for they will fill you up. And allow yourself then to take your hands that contain this liquid light of the higher mind and allow yourself to drink deeply from it, feeling refreshed, and allow it to wash over your face, cupping your hands around your face and honoring the physical mind and its ability to perceive and its ability to experience. And allow your hands to continue down and cross them over your heart and feel the vibrations and the energy that emanates, radiating outward, reflecting the radiating ripples of electromagnetic light that issue from source, reflecting back to source. The waves that represent and identify you as a unique reflection of creation, of all that is, of existence itself. And allow your hands then to offer your heart out to the world in the form of your passion, your expression, your love, your creativity, your boldness, your artistry, your song, your life. And as it spreads out before you and calls forth the manifestations of physical reality so that your mind may perceive the reflection in the terms it can understand and comprehend. And you give thanks and appreciation and gratitude for the opportunities, blessings, gifts, challenges, doorways through which you can walk, through which you can cross to higher levels of being. And you let go of all the insistence, knowing that surrender is not giving up control, but is surrendering to the control that is already built into your existence, so that there is no insistence and no assumption as you give it back up to the higher mind to allow synchronicity to guide you in life, so that you may experience mindfulness in all that you do, so that you may experience appreciation in all that you do, so that you may experience gratitude in all that you do, so that you may experience allowance in all that you do, so that it may all work together in combination, in harmony, in synchronicity, so that you may rise up, raise your frequency, feel the vibrations of existence as they not only pass through you but form you. Form you out of the raw liquid light. Liquid living light is what you are, expressing itself in trinities in a variety of ways to create the foundation and structure of your experience, your dream of physical beingness. And again, allow the flow to continue from the higher mind. Receive in cupped hands, drink of the refreshing liquid light. Appreciate the perception and experience of the physical mind. Cradle and nurture the vibrations of your heart so that it may express itself in your passion and joy. And allow for clarity of perception in your adventure and your journey in life, so that it may raise up your experiences and expand your passion, and allow your higher mind to bring you what you need without resistance and insistence. And allow the cycle to go through you again and again and again. Always uplifting, always amplifying, always magnifying, always guiding, always aligning, always synchronizing and harmonizing in beautiful song, in beautiful creative artistic expression, in perfect alignment and being and knowing and living and loving as living light, expressing itself in beauty, in understanding, in perception, in harmony. Feel the vibrations. Just let them flow through you. Let them spiral through your core and expand outward and inward simultaneously, so that you are at the center of your life, the center of your being, the center of your existence. Journey with us through space and time, through parallel realities, through different dimensions of experience. Journey with us through the infinite void that is full of all that is, expressing itself in all the ways that it can. An infinite array of reflective mirrors showing you every different angle of your being. Journey with us now within our ship that is our higher mind. Journey with us. Through the stars, traveling, yet remaining moving, yet at peace, opening, expressing, flowering, unfolding, dimension after dimension, like an unfolding box, constantly filled with new directions, new surprises, filled with the unexpected. Open up to the mystery of your being, the mystery of existence. inward and outward, infinitely. Breathe deeply, gently. Guide yourself by your breath. Guide yourself by your sight. Guide yourself by your passion. You are supported unconditionally. Unconditionally. Be who and what you prefer to be. Be yourself. Glide along the path of least resistance, the path that is you. Breathe and journey with us through the infinite cosmos. Moving, yet never moving. For you do not move through things, they move through you. And you stand in awe of the beauty of existence, the beauty of the stars, the brilliant and riotous colors of space and other realities, and the voices that come, the voices that whisper, the voices that remind you of your true self, the voices that welcome you home, the voices that are your voices, the voices of the infinite, the voices of all that is. Feel them in your heart. Feel them in your mind. Feel them in your higher self. Invite them in. Blend them in. Allow them in. To serve you, to love you, to support you, to guide you. Join us on this journey with a triad mind in harmony. You are more than you are aware of. Awaken, awaken, awaken to your true selves. Feel the pulsing energy rippling and radiating from you, surrounding you in a bubble, a reality of you. A universe of you. All that is. All that is. All that is. Continue to breathe easily, gently, softly. Let it sink in. Let yourself drift along the currents in a dreamlike way. And remain in the void. Just breathing, just being, just feeling, just knowing. Softly, softly. Allow yourselves to continue to breathe. Be refreshed, be renewed. Be at peace. Our unconditional love to you all.